Is basketball now a middle-class sport? I take a look at some NCAA data that strongly suggests that is the case, as well as some surprising findings I did not expect. And we revisit a special report I did back in 2015, where I started to sound the alarm on what we're seeing right now, the decline of the African-American professional basketball player. All that and more in the No Backboard Basketball Show.
That we get back to talking about this community, because I think that's one way, and that I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it may be the tagline you use there, if change the game, change the community.
I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker. I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker.
Great question. So the No Backboard Basketball League, the vision of it is a new recreational basketball platform to provide opportunities for Black and brown individuals to actually own wealth creating assets in the sports space. Hey, welcome to the No Backboard Basketball Show. I'm your host, Mark Tee Armstrong, inventor of basketball to remix the modern interpretation of the original game and founder of the No Backboard Basketball League. If you're interested in really understanding my why behind this effort called the No Backboard Basketball League, check out my book on Amazon, No Backboard Basketball, Remixing Basketball as a Catalyst for Change. Change the game, change the community. And also, we're building a community to create a new basketball experience in the United States. Check us out. Go to nobackboard.com, provide your email list, and join the community. Be a part of something significant, ambitious. And at the end of the day, man, we launched a fantastic journey. Hop on the train and let's see where this trip goes. All right, so today, I want to continue this conversation about, has basketball become a middle-class sport? And I began delving into the discussion yesterday whether basketball in America is now considered a middle class, upper middle class, or rich man sport. And in many ways, I found myself being victim of not seeing what's right in front of me. But that's because my map of reality needed to be updated. I had to connect some dots. When I was a teenager, we viewed sports like tennis, golf, polo were considered rich people sports. And I think that was mainly due to the cost of access, right? To get to play tennis, to play polo, to play golf, you need to have access to a country club, some type of club. And then you also had the cost of the equipment. Basketball, on the other hand, during that same era, was really considered the black sport or the hood sport. As you know, historically, basketball courts are everywhere and can always be accessed for free. I've mentioned in the last program, 80% of my basketball development was done for free, right? And that's thanks to having accessibility to a park that also had a gym, honorable older players, adults and older teenagers who not just protected us, but nurtured us. These were OGs that would make sure that, hey, if you had potential, they didn't let you get caught up in mess. And I really appreciate that about my experience growing up, where I grew up at, and the OGs that were in my life at the time. Never once did I ever feel scared or threatened to walk a half mile to the park, hoop all day, and make that walk back. That was a different time, in some senses, a better time. However, words speak, as the saying goes, words speak, but numbers scream. So I needed to dig into some data to see about this claim about basketball now being an upper middle class sport. I get it with regards to it costs money now to participate, and that's been an issue for a while. The accessibility of the game these days, simply to gain access to the platforms and the teams that will give an athlete the level of exposure they would need to get recruited for college, right? So my theory is that as the cost of college increased, remember there's this push a few decades ago, globalization, everyone needs to go to college, and there's this big push for college. So my theory is that as the cost of college increased, families started looking for alternative ways to supplement that college expense. Scholarships of all types became highly coveted, right? And so families began to view athletic development as an investment to get scholarships, similar to hiring a math or science tutor. So this led me to ask, what is happening at the college level? What's happening with basketball at the college level? Are we seeing anything that's reflecting a middle class movement at the college level, right? Because and I keep saying historically, but basketball's history now is so broad over, invented in 1891. This is 2024, and you have the pre-NBA era from 1891 to, let's just round it off to 1950. Then you have the NBA era, and then even with the NBA era, I think you can break that up a bit. So depending upon who you are in your life and what generation you're in, there's some things about the history of basketball that you may not relate to. For example, I recall hearing years ago, gentlemen got a question in the class, and it was asked, when did they start letting white people play basketball? Gives you an idea of, depending upon your generation and your exposure, your perspective can be very limited, right? So what I did is I went to the NCAA demographics database, and here's what I found. The overall number of roster spots in college basketball has increased since 2012 to 2024. Now, the first thing I noticed was the number of white American college basketball athletes has been decreasing over the past 12 seasons, while the number of black college basketball athletes has increased. Now, this may not be a shock to anybody, right? These are trends that you might expect over the past 12 years. White American players have decreased, black American players have increased. However, here's the twist. While there's an increase in black American players, there's also a steady decrease in their market share, or roster share, as I call it, which dropped from 43% to 41%. So you have decrease white American athletes and basketball players in college. You have an increase in black basketball players in college, but black players' roster shares have decreased, right? So what that's saying is the opportunities in college basketball, roster spots have increased over the past decade, the past 12 years. But percentage of roster share for American athletes, combining both black and white athletes, has decreased by 2%. So both black and white American basketball athletes collectively lost 7% of NCAA roster shares over the past 12 seasons, even while the NCAA roster share overall was expanding. So instead, we see growth in the other category, right? So in this other category, which has grown from 11% to 19%. So what's happening in this other category?
Tired of the three-point obsession, the commercialization of youth basketball, and a game where skill development takes a backseat? Introducing No Backboard Basketball, remixing basketball as a catalyst for change. This isn't just a book, it's a movement. Rediscover basketball's roots, where the focus is on community, creativity, and real opportunities for black and brown youth. No more barriers for families without deep pockets. Get your copy on Amazon now and join the revolution that's changing the game and changing lives.
The decline of the white and black American presence on NCAA rosters doesn't directly reflect the sport becoming middle class. So those stats right there don't necessarily point to, hey, The sport's becoming middle class. So when we examine the NCAA student athlete demographics for basketball, some insights jump out. Now, there's the expected modest increase in roster spots for international players by 215. So 2012, 2024, there are 215 more international players on NCAA rosters. What I found interesting, and I shouldn't, but I did, was an increase of over 208 roster spots during that same time period for athletes that identified as Hispanic or Latino. But what really stands out is an increase of over 1,000 roster spots for athletes who identify with two or more races. There's been an increase in 2012 to 2024 of 1,000 roster spots at NCAA basketball for athletes that identified with two races or more. Now, this stat makes me think of another one. Approximately 51% of all NBA athletes are related to professional or former Division I athletes. So here's my speculation. Here's why I'm efforting to connect the dots. My speculation is that many of these biracial athletes come from interracial relationships between college athletes, resulting in their children also playing college sports. And I don't think this is such a wild theory to throw out there, right? The largest and fastest growing segment in NCAA college basketball rosters by 5x are biracial athletes. So this updates my map of reality. Now, although they only represent 7% of the overall roster spots, they are the fastest growing population in NCAA basketball. Okay, but how does this align with basketball becoming a middle class sport or a rich sport? Well, if we speculate, again, 50% of NBA players are made up of former pro and college athletes, and then extrapolate that many of these biracial athletes, the fastest growing segment on NCAA basketball rosters, come from interracial relationships with firsthand experience in athletic development. Now you get a population of an athletic-oriented family, leveraging their advantages, their genes, their experience, and their professional careers to outspend competing families for those developmental opportunities. So across the youth sports space, it's likely that these families that have the athletic background, they have the genes, and have the professional careers, leveraging the college educations into professional careers, that they're driving the market because they have personal experience with the satisfaction and the rewards of playing college sports. And from my personal experience, it makes a difference if one or both parents have the background in athletics to work with children that are on the path for collegiate and professional athletics themselves. There's a big difference between parents that are former athletes themselves raising athletic kids and parents who have no clue because they've never done it themselves raising athletic kids. So across the youth space, it's likely that these families are setting the standard and they're driving the market.
Go ahead and tell us your name.
My name is Cameron Neff.
What is your IG or TikTok handle?
My Instagram is Cameron D. Neff.
What is your experience playing no backboard basketball?
So far, it's been pretty cool. It's a very unique game, and you just have to adjust, really.
All right. What part of the game do you think you will be highlighted today?
Shooting. I feel like shooting is going to be the most difficult.
All right.
New age basketball game for the new age generation to come. A hoop rising metal ring, king of this domain. Stamina, sweat, and skills, let the record show my name. Sharp shoot, fast breaks, the rhythm never drops. We play with heart and hustle, every second on the clock. Feeling the asphalt underfoot, we make our own rules. In this game of precision, ain't no time for the fools. No need for glass to kiss the swish, flash, pure bliss. We shape the game, change lanes, in the hood we don't miss. Same grind, different challenge, push the game, test your talents. In the paint or beyond the art, we're the masters of our ballads.
I started to sound alarm about the decline of African American professional basketball player being on the horizon about a decade ago. 10 years ago, I actually produced a special report entitled The Decline of the African American Professional Basketball Player. I'm going to play a portion of that report for you. Now, the audio isn't the best. I tried to adjust it to make it as best as possible. So short listen, please endure. I think the decline of the African American basketball player is well underway. The American Black community is no longer connected with the soul of the sport. The symbiotic relationship that existed from the game's birth all the way to maybe the 1990s has been severed. The commercialization of the game, driven by the NBA, NCAA, AAU, and Nike, has pulled basketball completely out of communities into large multi-sport venues across the country. In this process, the soul of the game, which has always been about empowerment and upliftment of individuals and communities, has been replaced by the pursuit of profit. You have young athletes that become products themselves, objects for exploitation, rather than young men and women to be developed. Now, overall, what has happened to basketball, the sport I love, is complex, nuanced, and influenced by many factors I'm probably not fully aware of. But for anyone paying attention, all the trends are pointing towards global growth and popularity. Internationally, the NBA is doing great. It's only here that 25% of the total pie, there's issues and concern. So if you're paying attention, all trends are pointing towards global growth and popularity, but at the expense of the African American basketball athlete, who for the most part are young Black American athletes. These athletes have been left to be exploited instead of protected and provided with real development opportunities like their international counterparts. Remember, there is no national development platform in the United States. True to capitalism, our system has been left to the free market, which is why I developed the No Backboard Basketball League. It's a vision for a national development platform that leverages the current policies, laws, and technologies to reimagine a new business model where you can participate in the business of basketball, in the development, in the recreation, and entertainment as a conscious capitalist. We aim to build a product and service that makes both bread and a positive impact in the communities we serve. Today, we can do both. We can make money and empower athletes without the need to exploit these families and gain a financial upper hand. Folks, this is the goal, to fulfill basketball's original intent and ensure everyone gets paid, both in their spirit, their character, their experience, and their bank account. Thank you for making it to the end. Again, Mark Tee Armstrong, founder of No Backboard Basketball League, inventor of Basketball to Remix. I appreciate your time. Be blessed. I'll see you